Hey, how you doing? Come on in, have a seat, and let's talk about your week one plans for your online course. First, I want to applaud you for all the time and effort you've put into the content you've already developed. It definitely shows that you're a dedicated educator, and I applaud you for that. Let's look at your outcomes, because again, outcomes really are the driving force of the course. So I'm going to look at the verbs in your outcomes. We have learn, think, and answer. Um, your outcomes should be measurable, and it's really hard to measure whether somebody's learned or that they think or answer. So we need to change those action verbs, maybe just things like reflect, apply, something that's more measurable and more relevant, more meaningful for your students. So that's one thing we have to look at. Going down to your assessments should really be related to your outcomes. Your assessments are basically going to show whether or not your students have mastered the outcomes. So with your assessments, you want them to be, again, relevant and meaningful, but you want them to measure whether or not they have mastered the outcomes. So a 20 question multiple choice quiz isn't necessarily going to reflect whether or not they mastered any of your outcomes. We want to create some assessments again. Might involve reflection, application, things like that. We can also build some multimedia learning objects in there to show that they've mastered outcomes. You have three outcomes, and so you really should have three assessments. So we might want to build a third assessment in there. Looking at your materials, it's a lot of material. Again, we need to look at the needs of our online learners. Typically, these are learners who, work full time, work odd hours, have other life commitments. They don't have time to sit for an hour every day and work on their course content. What I would suggest is maybe with the materials, if we could develop some, if we could chunk them out and develop some what I call, mini lectures. If we chopped them down to like 10 or 15 minutes and just gave the high points, the things that you want them to learn, they're gonna receive that much better because they're gonna log in for they're not gonna be able to log in for an hour. They're gonna log in for 20 minutes and try to get some work done. And if they have an hour long assignment and they don't have an hour to do it, then chances are they're not going to get the most out of that assignment. So I think definitely chunking them out and having more mini lectures with shorter durations and also with an activity after it. I like that. That's what I call a passive active model. The passive part being where they listen to the content, and the active where they go ahead and do something just to show, sort of a mini assessment, just to show that they truly got the content. And if they didn't, then that activity is going to provide them some feedback, whether it be, hey, go back and listen to the lecture or whatever, just something there. I definitely think chunking that out is going to be well received by our learners. Also, there is some research that shows that when students are given those mini lessons, when things are chunked out, and they only have to go in for a short period of time, they're more likely to log in more often, which is good because we want them to be in the course as much as possible. So definitely we want to follow that research. I think that would be a great thing to add to the course. Now, when we're developing the content, one thing we want to stay away from is mentioning page numbers, book titles, journal article titles, things like that, because those are going to change over time. If you choose a new edition, a new book, or find different articles, if you mention those in the course content, then you got to recreate the course content, and that's just creating extra work for you. So try to avoid mentioning any kind of information that's going to change on a regular basis. Now, once we go through the whole process of planning, developing, implementing, we're not finished, because once implementation is in place, we still have to evaluate. We're going to be constantly evaluating this course to make sure that it's meeting the needs of our students. At the end of each course, what we should do is solicit feedback, positive and negative, so that if we have to make changes to the course anyway, that's going to help us stay in step with the needs of our students. So that is valuable data that we're going to collect at the end of each course. And again, this course is a growing, living being. It's something that we're always going to be working on, which is a good thing, because as the needs of our students change, we're gonna be in sync with those needs. All right, so our goal is to create an environment for students to learn at their own pace, online, when they want, where they want, in the least restrictive environment. That's what we're doing. So we need to keep all of those ideas in mind when we're developing this, because frankly, our students are going to expect this, and it's really our job to oblige, because that is the way more students learn nowadays than they have in the past. So in developing, let's keep those in mind. Now, if you're okay with all of these suggestions, I think we should go ahead and meet tomorrow and get the ball rolling on this. Again, I'm really excited to be working with you. I think we're going to be a great team. And again, the most important thing is that we need to keep an open dialogue. I think that's going to be the key to the success of this course. And I enjoy working with you.